Hey guys, how's it going? Hope all is well. Kyle Williams here, just going over the research I did as it relates to Osama bin Laden's death. Death was initially in May 1st, 2011. United States invaded Afghanistan, deep in Afghanistan, where Osama bin Laden was hidden for the longest. And instead of actually capturing Osama, it seemed like the mission was to kill him as well. Now, I'm relating that to as the news and how multiple stories flowed across the globe and just the different aspects of them. Obviously, a few American news reports or whatnot, New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, all of these sites that's on the West, the Western flow of media, I wouldn't say they were biased, but they had a spin on it, whereas we can finally relax now. We're free. He's gone. He's no longer here. Let's celebrate his death. He's no longer a problem to mankind, to the CIA, to America. It's time to celebrate. Al Jazeera, being a global or worldwide, they also have Al Jazeera English. I also noticed the connection between many American posts and Al Jazeera English as they took on the same concept. Obama and the praising of actually finally catching Osama bin Laden and the celebration of it. It's footage of former President Obama, and it's sort of like a funeral ceremony or something to celebrate that. Many Americans was ecstatic about it. I say all this just to show you that from the American side, from the side of America, from the Western point of view, every news report was created, every article was created with that in mind. The audience being, Osama is finally caught. Hooray. Thank you, President Obama. But contrary to that, Al Jazeera also has fan bases outside of Americans. And those fan bases can be Muslims, just people that won't take on that same idea or concept like America and just thinking it's okay to kill Osama. So they had articles, Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda vowing for revenge. So I will speak on to that more in detail later. But just Al-Qaeda going into revenge. I didn't really see too many American sites go after that as soon. I mean, this was 2 days after his killing that Al Jazeera decided to put that out. It wasn't until probably years later, or weeks, months, even years later, I'm seeing articles dating back to 2015, ultimately now showing that Osama bin Laden's son has vowed revenge. So the approach was different from Al Jazeera because they attacked it from different angles. Like I said, they attacked it for the Americans, for that fan base, but they also attacked it for the fan base, I guess you would say Al-Qaeda fan base, whoever's a fan of Al-Qaeda. And, a lot of people, they hear Al-Qaeda, they just think totally bad. But there are fans of Al-Qaeda because Al-Qaeda feels that, I would say in a New World Order type of sense, like they feel that they need to challenge the West because of their own personal beliefs and what's been going on and how they ultimately feel blackballed. That's a different story. But that's one fan base. So you have Americans, you have pro-Al-Qaeda, and then you have communist countries. And when you look at America, even though it may be seen as communist, we're all on the same page with it. The rest of the world isn't like that. So the fact that Americans can go to Afghanistan, deep in Afghanistan, and kill a big name like Osama bin Laden, technically illegally, scares and has other communist rulers thinking twice. Like, hey man, is that I don't know. They just killed Osama. They begin to, I wouldn't say fear, but prepare. And if they have to prepare, then they have to get the rest of their country to prepare as well. So that caused another issue. So now that's a third audience. That's the audience of these communist rulers, of these civilians in these communist countries, because they're like, okay, well now my ruler is acting this way. So if my ruler is acting this way and things may change, he's gonna alter the way he works and alter the way our country works. So now they're on heels. There's a whole political span after that. An audience of a communist country may be like, okay, now that this happened, our rules have got more strict. We can't let outsiders in as much. So now ultimately that affects them because now they don't have as much freedom as they once had, all just because America went away went to kill Osama bin Laden. Not saying it's right or wrong, but ultimately there is facts saying that they didn't do it properly, and that can be an issue as well. So that's in a nutshell. That's 3 audiences right there. That's more than enough. That's 3 audiences. Al Jazeera focused on making sure there were articles, there were information for all 3 audiences. You know, you had like I said, audiences for the communist leaders and whoever's in their country, their civilians, were not worried about whatever it is they have to worry about as the effect of this situation that happened. Then you also have Al-Qaeda, pro-Al-Qaeda, maybe Muslims in general. And then you have Americans. And Americans, as many would believe, and which is, it's true, as American, 9 times out of 10 you read about America. And from an American standpoint and from the United States standpoint, mission Osama bin Laden was complete. So it's all joy. We have nothing else to worry about. So any article that's trying to reach an American audience, Al Jazeera English, like I said, many other people that covered the event, it would just be that one thing. For the other 2 audiences, like I said, it would be that. So in closing, to make this simple and clear this up a little bit, news outlets in America, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, when it comes to worldwide issues like this, especially dealing with a terrorist like Osama bin Laden, they only focus on how it affects them, how it affects America. Is it beneficial to America? Does it hurt America? Al Jazeera focuses on America because it has an American audience. It focuses on whoever else is involved. In this case, Al-Qaeda was involved. Communist leaders and countries was involved. So it tackled every end and every aspect. One other thing on top of that is they also decided to go on and do more of a detailed description of what's to come. Like I said, America, once they focused on Team Osama bin Laden down, that was for the most part it. But as I was doing my research on a bunch of sites of relating back to Al Jazeera and whatnot, I've seen that they predicted and they knew that, okay, revenge was coming. Osama bin Laden has multiple sons, many children. So they went and did their research to get articles on the Sun or whatnot. And these are things that Americans at the time didn't know or didn't focus on. Now that they focus on that, now these articles are surfaced all across the board. So in closing, the flow of media for America, from Western to the rest of America, is in this event is just simply focused on America. The flow for Al Jazeera and many other news organizations like it, this worldwide, focus on every aspect depending on its audience. And that's, to me, the flow of media. And that's in class what we talk about when we say Al Jazeera can be a threat and can be counterflow, Western flow of media, because the fact that they looked at it from multiple angles. And me being a journalism major, knowing that when it comes to news, the more news you have, the better news you have as far as the diversity of the news, always puts you in a better position than someone that just has one-sided news, especially if the news can come off as repetitive and biased.